Hey Haley, you've been avoiding me up until now, but you're definitely gonna come to the mom's lunch today. It's Saturday, so you can't use work as an excuse for not going. It gets better though. I decided to have it at your house. Won't that be convenient for you? We'll be there at noon sharp. Right now it looks like 10 people are coming. You can choose whether you want to make the lunch yourself or order out. It doesn't matter to me. Just make sure you get enough. Oh, and you know what? Actually, I'm in the mood for sushi. There's an amazing sushi place that just opened downtown. Why don't you order from them? Haley, what's going on? Why aren't you at home? Oh, is he? Good afternoon. Don't good afternoon me. You had better not be pretending to be out of your house right now. Okay, so I just took a look at the messages you sent me earlier this morning. I'm sorry to tell you like this, but our family is away on vacation today. What? We won't be back until tomorrow. What's the matter with you? You should have told me that way sooner. There are 10 hungry mothers waiting at your front door right now, expecting to eat expensive sushi at your lunch party. We left the house at 9 a.m. this morning, and we've been on the road until just now. I didn't even look at my phone until a few moments ago. Come on. Izzy, you can't just invite yourself and 10 other people to someone else's house for lunch, much less 3 hours before you plan to come. What's the big deal? It's Saturday. Yeah, that's why we're going on a little trip as a family today. And for the record, I do sometimes have to go into the office on Saturdays too. I've been telling you for a long time, Izzy, you need to give me plenty of advance notice if you want to make any plans involving me. Yeah, but even when I ask you in advance, you always say no. I work on weekends, Izzy. Of course I'm going to say no to a weekday lunch invitation. People who work regular office jobs can't just hop out of an extended lunch whenever they feel like it. You could take time off. It's not that easy. Sorry, Izzy, but we just got our food from the drive-thru, so we're going to get back on the road now. I gotta go. Hey, we're not finished here. I'm sorry, Izzy, but we'll have to talk about this later. Unbelievable. Do you have any idea how much money you cost me? Ugh, good evening, Izzy. I'm sorry, what did you mean? How did I cost you money? The lunch last Saturday. I told all the other moms that we were all invited to your house to eat sushi from the expensive new restaurant. But you completely blew me off and went on vacation with your family. So I got stuck taking them all out to have lunch at that restaurant instead. I had to pay for 10 lunches. Izzy, I think you're missing one very important detail. What detail? You are the one who invited everyone to my house without even talking to me about it in advance. I don't recall ever saying yes to that plan. I didn't even see your message until you were already there. And you're the one who wanted to eat sushi and expected me to pay for it. I think most people would take the complete lack of response as a pretty certain sign that the other person had not gotten the message, don't you? Oh my God, you are so selfish, Haley. Selfish? Me? You really don't get it, do you? Listen, babe, I'm what you call the boss around here. I'm the leader of the Moms Club. So all the moms in my circle are my underlings. They do what I say when I say. What? You're the boss of the Moms Club? Yeah, what of it? I don't recall ever joining any club. And second of all, I don't recall ever agreeing to make you my boss. Was there an election or something that I missed? Shut up! I don't need an election to know I'm the boss. It's just the facts. I'm the leader of all the moms in the neighborhood, like it or not. Is that so? Yes, that's so. Got it? The next lunch is gonna be at your house for real this time. Next Saturday. Be ready. Sorry, I can't do that day. Excuse me? You told me to give you an advance notice, right? Well, I just did, so make it work. My company's new employees are undergoing a series of training sessions, and I had plans to go and check in on how they're doing on Saturday. Are you kidding? Did you really think I'd buy that excuse? Those training sessions are for important people to deal with. You know, executives, managers, people who matter. What's some loser part-timer like you going to do there? You're just gonna be standing around in the back of the room watching everyone else do the real work? You'd only be getting in the way. What are you thinking? I'm not a part-timer. Wait, really? Okay, my bad. You're just a temp staffer then. Wrong again. Stop changing the subject. This Saturday, you're gonna host the mom's lunch at your house. And this time, you are gonna buy us all of the sushi we can eat. Do I make myself clear? I just told you, I have work and I can't do it. Oh, and just so you can't get out of your responsibility this time, I'll go ahead and order the sushi for you. You can pay me back later, and yes, you will pay me back every last cent. Okay, well don't forget that I already told you no. Hey there, Haley. We're having an absolutely lovely sushi lunch at your house right now. Although I have to admit, it's kind of weird that you're not attending a party at your own house. Huh? Wait a second. What do you mean you're having a lunch at my house? Are you actually in my house right now? How? I locked the doors when I left. Nope, we were able to get inside with no problem at all. It was so nice of you to leave someone here at the house to serve us. Who is this old lady? Your mom? Or your mother-in-law? Or just some woman you hired for us? Anyway, this was super nice of you to do. But just because you gave us a servant doesn't mean you're gonna get out of paying the $5,500 bill. What the? $5,500? I ordered enough for 20 people. You know, so I could have some leftovers for later. I have the old lady here pay for now, but you can pay her back when you get home. Don't keep her waiting, though. I doubt she has that much in her bank account. What in the world are you talking about? My husband took my son to the mall to play today, and I've been at work since this morning. So none of us are home, and the house should be empty. Yeah, I figured as much. And that's why you left this old lady here, right? Your mom or mother-in-law or whatever. I did no such thing, Izzy. My mother and my husband's mother. Both of them passed away before we got married. What? Wait. Huh? What are you not getting, Izzy? My entire family is out of the house right now. No one is home. So there shouldn't be any old woman, much less my dead mother or mother-in-law at the house right now. Hold on. So you're saying that woman who went and hid in the back room when we all came into the house, is that... Oh my God, your mom's a ghost. Oh my God, don't be ridiculous. There is no such thing as ghosts. That woman who's in the house with you, you said you made her pay for the sushi, right? Ghosts don't have money. I mean, they're not even real. Ugh, what are you, a third grader? Oh, yeah, that does make sense. Wait, so this was a prank? You're awful! You know I'm terrified of ghosts. I can't even watch horror movies. I get so panicked I can't sleep. How could you pull such a cruel prank on me? I wouldn't go to so much trouble to pull some elaborate prank like this on you. But that's beside the point right now. If you're really in my house eating sushi like you say, and some woman let you into my house, then that means someone was trespassing in my house. This is very, very bad. I gotta call the police. Yes, I'm 100% sure that we're in your house. Ugh, you're terrible. If you keep going from prank to prank like this, I'm gonna have a heart attack. How many times do I have to tell you I'm not pulling any pranks on you? You've got some nerve treating me like this on the day I'm celebrating my husband getting a new job. What? Your husband's new job? Yeah, isn't it great? He got scouted by some big shot marketing agency. So this week's mom's lunch is also a party for him. Wait, is your husband there with you right now? Well, duh, it's his party. Of course he's here. I see. And does your husband's name happen to be Stan? Yeah, but why does that matter? Okay, well then. What? Tell your husband he's fired. Fired? What is up with you? He's fired. How can you fire him? He doesn't even work for you. Actually, he does work for me. Huh? That big shot marketing agency you mentioned earlier, I'm the CEO. What? I told you that I couldn't host a lunch today because my company's new employees were undergoing a training session, didn't I? Your husband is one of the new hires who should be in that training session right about now. But he's never taken any of the training seriously at all. He's been blowing them off, taking long bathroom breaks, using his phone mid-session. And right now, he's absent without leave. I've been trying to contact him since this morning, but he won't answer his phone. Unbelievable. He was having a party to celebrate his new job. Wait, you're not making any sense. My husband was scouted by this company. Why should he have to attend some dumb training session? If he was scouted, doesn't that mean the company really wanted him to join? Trainings are for beginners. Sorry to break it to you, Izzy, but your husband wasn't scouted. What? I don't know what sort of story he's been telling you, but he got hired on as a part-timer, just like all the people at the training session today. No, he's a part-timer? He worked hard and proved himself. We have a system where part-timer employees can become full-time regular employees, but he's got to go through the process like everyone else. I'm going to talk to my husband. You wait right there. You were telling the truth. He quit his job at his last company because he could never get along with anyone else there. But he was too embarrassed to admit that he got hired into your company as just a part-timer. So he told me that he got scouted because of his impressive resume. Yeah, that's what happened. And like I just said, your husband's attitude at work was so painfully awful that I don't think he was ever going to make it as a part-timer. I was willing to give him more time to prove himself, but a no-call, no-show is just too much to overlook. I'm going to talk to his HR director right now and get his termination process started. Hey, wait, could you, I've got it. How about I make you the boss instead of me? So come on, please, don't fire my husband. You're gonna make me the boss? Yeah, just think about it. You'll be able to boss around all the other moms now. I would rather comb my hair with a rusty fork than do that. What? Oh, and one more thing. The police have been called. The police? I told my husband that there was an intruder in our house, so he rushed home from the mall to check on it. And when he got there, he saw our next-door neighbor desperately trying to escape from a window in her own house. Your neighbor? She was really panicked. She said that a bunch of women forced their way into her house and demanded that she pay for their sushi. So my husband let her borrow his phone and she called 911. Oh no. In your defense, our house is in a pretty new development area, so a lot of the houses do look very similar. Oh, don't tell me. I went to your neighbor's house by mistake? Yeah, that seems to be the case. Oh no, this is bad. Oh, like really, really bad. What should I do now? Given your position, I guess you have no choice but to tell the truth. You got the address wrong and barged into some poor, unsuspecting elderly woman's house with a bunch of your friends. And you made that poor elderly woman pay $5,500 for sushi that you ordered. I think that covers everything that's gone on today. Did I miss anything? I can't believe this. This cannot be happening. Do you know how that sounds? That makes it sound like we're a bunch of mobsters! Well, if the shoe fits, you've got to do something, Haley. You're an adult, and you got yourself into this mess, so you're just gonna have to get yourself out of it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to work. Haley, don't go! It seems that an unmarked, silent police car had arrived at the front of our neighbor's house while we were texting each other. And the Moms Club was all taken away by the police before they even knew what was happening. After the dust had settled, our neighbor got right to work getting some justice for herself. She sued Izzy and her friends for the $5,500 she was forced to pay for the sushi, as well as punitive damages for the pain and suffering she experienced that day. Frankly, I thought she should have pushed for way more in damages. A little while later, Izzy and her husband divorced. Neither of them were determined to be capable parents, so their child was taken in by a relative. As for the rest of Izzy's mommy gang, they all met similar fates, getting divorced by their husbands or disowned by their families. I'll bet all of them are going to be regretting following Izzy's lead for the rest of their lives. So it seems like now the neighborhood will finally get some relief from their malicious hijinks. Thank God.
Harriet, what's going on? I heard that you and my son won't be coming to our house for Christmas this year. Is that true?
Oh, good evening, Dad. Well, yes, it's true. Curtis and I talked about it for a while, and we decided that we would spend Christmas at home this year instead of going over to your place.
I don't believe this. Why would you go and do a thing like that?
Well, haven't you seen the weather reports? We're supposed to get a once-in-a-decade blizzard on Christmas Eve. A lot of the stores around here are already announcing that they're not going to be open for either the 24th or the 25th out of fear for their employees' safety. It's pretty serious. We just feel like we'd rather not take the risk and go visit you guys on another day instead.
I cannot believe what I'm hearing. You think you're worthy of marrying into our family with an attitude like that? I should have known this is what you would be like when you refused to build a duplex with us before you and Curtis got married. Not only that, you had the nerve to continue working after your wedding when you should have quit in order to take care of my son's home for him and give me grandchildren. I am so disappointed in you as a daughter-in-law, Harriet. I don't know what that fool son of mine saw in you. Now you're telling me that you're not going to come to my house on Christmas because of a little bit of snow? It's not like you've never seen the stuff before.
Dad? Have you really not noticed how much it bothers Curtis when you say things like that to me? I'm sure he's talked to you about it before and told you to back off.
Excuse me?
And for the record, it wasn't me who first came up with the idea to spend Christmas at home this year. It was Curtis.
That's not true.
Also, Curtis was the one who first came out against your proposal of building a duplex together, not me. And once again, it was Curtis who encouraged me to keep working at my same job after getting married. He's been very supportive of me and my career aspirations.
What a load of nonsense!
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm actually out of town on business at the moment, so I'll be taking my leave.
What? Your company sends the women on business trips? Don't they know you have more important things to be doing at home?
Well, Curtis and I both share housework duties, and I'm the person in charge of this region, so...
This conversation isn't over. We still have a lot of things to discuss, Harriet.
I have to get up early tomorrow morning, so I'm going to bed now.
Harriet! It's precisely this bratty, rebellious attitude of yours that made me oppose you marrying my son in the first place. I always told Curtis that he made an unbelievable mistake in marrying you instead of Charity. They've known each other since they were kids. They understand each other. They grew up in the same town, share the same culture. They're the perfect match. What was that imbecile thinking, choosing you over her? My only wish is that there was some way for me to get him to divorce you. How I'd love to be able to look Charity in the face and call her my daughter-in-law.
Mr. Wainwright, are you there? It's an emergency.
Oh, if it isn't my darling little Charity! Are you trying to get in touch with Curtis? At this time of day, I'm pretty sure he's at work. Can I give him a message for you?
No, this is about Curtis. He's been taken to the hospital.
What? What in the world happened to him? The hospital?
Curtis and I were going to meet up for lunch today. I was at the cafe waiting for them to arrive, and I saw Curtis across the street coming toward me, right? When all of a sudden a car drove straight through a red light and ran right into Curtis.
Oh no, that's terrible.
It looks like more than one person was injured in the crash because 2 ambulances arrived on the scene a short while later. I was on the scene, so I volunteered to go to the hospital together in the ambulance Curtis was loaded into.
What hospital were you taken to, Charity?
It's Western General Hospital, the one on North Franklin Drive. Please, Mr. Wainwright, hurry over here as fast as you can.
Got it! I'll tell my wife we'll be there soon. Harriet, what do you think you're doing? Exactly when are you planning on coming to see Curtis at the hospital? In all the time he's been here, you haven't come by to see him one single solitary time. Have you no shame? Don't you feel any responsibility to be here with him? Let me state this as simply as possible. Your husband is in the hospital, Harriet. And you, his wife, have not come by to see him a single time. Are you insane? Not only haven't you come by, you haven't even tried to contact him. He could have died for all you know. Oh, but not to worry. While you've been shirking your responsibilities as the wife of my son, Charity, a superior woman to you in every way imaginable, has been coming down here almost every day to visit him and check up on his condition. Every day that goes by, you make me more and more convinced that I'm right. Charity would make a far better wife for Curtis than you ever could. Hello there, Charity. I'm terribly sorry to have shouldered you with the burden of looking after Curtis for us. The restaurant we run is very small. There's only my wife, myself, and a few part-time staffers. If we're not there to handle things, then we'd have to shut it down, and we obviously can't do that. If our restaurant were a bit closer, then we'd at least be able to stop by from time to time, but unfortunately, we're on the opposite side of town.
It's fine, Mr. Wainwright. Don't worry about it. After all, I'd do anything to be able to spend more time with Curtis. This is like a dream come true.
I'm glad to hear that. You know, Charity, you really are one fine young woman. Generous, caring, self-sacrificing. Nothing at all like that heartless, soulless, worthless Harriet.
Speaking of Harriet, do you know what's going on with her? As far as I can tell, she hasn't even come by the hospital once to see him.
I thought that was the case. I can't even get in touch with her. She won't answer texts or calls. Her parents have already passed away, and I don't know the contact information of any of her other family members, so the only thing I can do is wait for her to respond. There's no other way for us to figure out exactly what the hell she's doing. But since she's his wife, I assume she's his emergency contact, so there's no way she doesn't know about his accident. Seriously, what is wrong with that girl?
You know what I think? I think she's using this as an opportunity to do what she's always wanted to do, but couldn't because Curtis was around. You know what I mean?
What?
Curtis is so ridiculously trusting of her. No matter how many times I try to tell him about her, he's just like, no way, Harriet's not like that. She would never do that to me. It's pathetic. I mean, think about it. Not only has Harriet not been over here, but she hasn't even gone back to their house yet all this time.
Wait, really? You're sure? Wow, I should have expected that was the case, but to hear that it's actually true is too sad to bear.
Don't you think it's time we made our move and got them to divorce? I mean, it pains me so much to see Curtis pining after such an unfaithful wife.
Yes, Charity, you're exactly right. The time has come. It's time that my son got the wife he deserves. You! Hello, Harriet. I'm writing to let you know that I've talked it over with my wife, and we've decided that you do not deserve to be married to our son. Not only have you not come to the hospital for the entire time he's been hospitalized, you're off doing who knows what in who knows where and haven't even been back to your house. Furthermore, you have yet to respond to or even read a single one of my messages. As such, we have determined that the only way forward is for you to leave. You're going to divorce my son as soon as possible.
Hello to you too, Dad. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get back to you.
There you are. I suppose once I brought the D word into the picture, you realized I meant business. But you're too late, Harriet. There's no changing my mind now. My decision is final.
Let's back up a bit, shall we? First order of business. I've been staying in the exact same hospital as Curtis this entire time.
What? Wait just one moment. What do you mean you've been staying at the hospital? As in you've been renting a room nearby?
No, I mean I've been hospitalized. I was the other person injured in the crash involving Curtis. And the driver who ran a stoplight?
You were?
It looks like you're under a massive misunderstanding, so allow me to explain things from the beginning in the simplest terms possible. First, I was in the intensive care unit for the first few days of my time in the hospital. I've been cleared to leave the ICU and am now in a regular room, so I was finally able to get my phone repaired recently, which was heavily damaged in the crash. It just came back to me yesterday, but I suffered some serious injuries to my hands, so I haven't been able to type by myself. The messages that are being sent to you right now are being written by a friend of mine who came to see me today, as that's the only way I would be able to reply to you.
But that doesn't make any sense. If you've been here this whole time, why hasn't Curtis said anything about it? He's had ample opportunity.
Yes, well, there's a very, very good reason for that. Charity, who's been clinging on to Curtis like a fly in molasses since the time we were dating and sees me as her mortal enemy, has been in the room with him every day and practically never leaves his side.
What? Charity?
It also seems as though she's invited herself to stay at our home while she's here. If she knew that I was here at the same hospital, there is no telling what she might try to do to me in my current state. So he thought it would be best for me to just keep quiet about it. I asked the doctors to transfer me to a different hospital to avoid this problem, but they said there was no way they would be able to safely transfer me in my condition. So we went with Plan B. I asked the doctors to instead transfer me to a private room within the hospital and leave a standing order to refuse visitors without express permission from me.
That's...
By the way, the only reason I'm able to reveal this all to you right now is because Charity's parents have also arrived and they're keeping tabs on her for me.
What? Her parents?
I understand that Charity, when Charity told you about the accident, she told you that another driver ran a red light and struck Curtis as he was walking, is that right? But that's not what really happened. No, the truth is that while Curtis was waiting for the pedestrian stoplight to turn green, he was pushed from behind into the road, and that's when he was hit by that car. So the car wasn't at fault at all, it was the person who pushed him.
What? You mean someone was essentially trying to murder Curtis? Who was it? Who's responsible for this? I'll see to it personally that they're brought to justice.
It was Charity.
Charity?
In her defense, it seems that she was just so happy to see Curtis that she started sprinting towards him, and when she wasn't able to hit the brakes, she rammed right into him. Charity's on the small side, but an adult running at that rate of speed was enough to push Curtis off balance, so he fell face first into the road.
That's unbelievable!
There's more. I was actually with Curtis at the time of the accident.
Oh?
And because we were holding hands when Charity pushed him, I got pulled into the road right alongside him. I don't think what happens next needs any explanation, so I'll just skip that part.
Yes, I think I get the picture.
As for what happens next, I'll have to talk with Curtis about the details, but we're planning to file a police report.
A police report? You mean you're pressing charges?
We've been contacted by multiple witnesses who were there the day of the accident, so there's really no escaping this for Charity. She's the one responsible for what happened to us.
I see.
That's all the time I have to speak to you today.
What? What's going on?
Nothing, it's just that the friend who's typing these messages for me has to go to work tomorrow morning, so she's going home now. My intention was only to clear up any misconceptions you may have had about what really happened. We can discuss the more minor details at a later time, so we'll have to continue this conversation another day. Good night.
Charity. I just spoke to Harriet. She told me about what really happened. If your parents are taking charge of you, I suppose you won't be able to respond to any of my messages. I can't believe it. It wasn't a car running a red light. You just rammed into Curtis so hard that he fell right into the road. I had such a hard time believing it that I talked to your parents directly, and they confirmed that everything Harriet said was true. And to think I was trying to get Curtis to marry you. I had no idea you were such a psychopath. Oh, my dear God in heaven, this is absolutely terrible. Harriet, what's the meaning of this? Curtis said he's going to legally change his last name to yours? He even sent us a letter declaring that he no longer wants to have anything to do with us. He's disowning us as his parents. Please, Harriet, I'm begging you, you've got to talk to him. Do something about this. Talk some sense into him. Please, Harriet. Curtis is my only son. I was planning on having him take over the family business, but now he's disowning me? What am I going to do? Look, I'll accept your marriage to my son. I'll accept you as my daughter-in-law. I'll accept you as part of the family. I'll even allow you to keep working, and you can go out of town on business as much as you'd like. Oh, and I'll also compromise and have you and Curtis do an 80-20 split on the housework. So please, you need to convince Curtis not to disown us and get him to reconsider changing his last name. He can't just get rid of his last name. That's my family name. When she read the letter, my wife was so shocked that she fell down and threw out her back. Harriet, answer me, please. I'm begging you. Give my son back to me, Harriet.
Soon after Charity's parents took custody of her, the friend who had been coming to the hospital to check on me stopped by our house to see what state she had left it in. I was not entirely surprised to hear that every single thing that had anything to do with me had been damaged or destroyed entirely. There was more than enough for my friend to realize that we would no longer be safe in our own home, cleaned up the mess and removed all of our valuables to a safe location. Additionally, she's also arranging for an apartment to live in temporarily until we can find a new house. Now, since Charity obviously has no money of her own, her parents ended up footing the bill for all the money she owed us to repair the damage she caused, as well as moving expenses. As I told my father-in-law, we also submitted a police report and are pressing charges against her for breaking and entering, property damage, assault, and a litany of other crimes. We won't be settling out of court with her under any circumstances. We're seeing to it that she's put away for a very, very long time. A few months after that, Curtis and I were finally released from the hospital. The same friend who helped us find a new apartment also assisted us in restarting our lives in a new location, including helping us secure jobs similar to what we were doing before at her company. Faced with the unmoving determination of his son to abandon the family business, His father made the heartbreaking decision to simply close down the restaurant that he had worked all his life to build into a successful venture. As for us, however, we finally found peace in our new lives away from all the deeply troubled people in our past.